Hey guys, so what am I working on now? Well, I got this 2013 Ford Fusion with a 1.6 EcoBoost, and it came in with a check engine light, and the guy said it's running rough. So it came in yesterday, and it came in the morning. At the end of the day, I started it up, and it kind of misfired a bit. It kind of chuggled, didn't run quite right, but it cleared up. I could have swore I smelled antifreeze in the exhaust, like a burning smell. Okay, well, I scanned it for codes. It had multi-cylinder misfires. It had like a cylinder 3 misfire. It had cold start or misfire on cold start or startup, something like that. And it had coolant level low. Now, I haven't verified anything yet. But what I did do was I pressure tested the cooling system yesterday. Didn't come up with anything. And what I did was I left the pressure tester on the cooling system overnight. So now it's the next day. And it lost a little bit of pressure, but sometimes you lose pressure through the actual tester itself. So let me show you what I got. So here's the tester. Now you could lose some pressure, through the fitting here, the fitting there, because it's not a perfect seal. At least, you never know. The fitting where it screws in, where the hose goes on, whatever. But this was up around at the very end of 20 psi, because this is a 21 psi system. So right now it's between the 16 and the 17. See that? So it's like 16 and a half roughly, if the gauge is 100% correct. But you never know if they are. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it because I want to see how it runs. And we may have smoke out the exhaust. We may not. I don't know. Well, let's find out. Let me shut this off. All right, hang on a second. Let me find where the key goes in. There we go. Yeah, it's running a little bit rough already. Yeah. That is absolutely coolant. That is absolutely coolant. Whoo, yeah.
Yep.
You smell it?
Yep.
That is absolutely coolant coming out of there. So we know we have a leak getting into the combustion system. It's got a very distinct sweet smell. And now it's smoothed out. You could even hear it running kind of rough there for a second. So what I'm going to do now is, I actually want to do a block test on this. Sometimes block tests can be inconclusive. May not show you everything. But I want to do a block test just to see if it shows up on anything. What's a block test? Let me tell you. A block test uses a tool, and what it does is you hook it into the cooling system, and you take air samples out of the cooling system, and you want to see if you have hydrocarbons getting in there. And it uses a fluid that gets air sucked through it, or the air from inside the cooling system. And if you have hydrocarbons in there, aka exhaust, it'll change the color of the fluid. Here's the system I got. I actually just got this from Harbor Freight, which is right down the street from us. It's a Maddox combustion leak detector. And what you do is you take this fluid here, this is sold separately, take this fluid, you add it to this, in this line here, and then you use this bulb, which is a one-way valve, keep doing this, and what it does is it'll actually suck air through it, and it'll filter the air through that screen, so you get like a dilution of the air through the fluid. So let me get the tester off of there, and then let's get this hooked up. And now with this tool hooked up, as you can see, I got it right there. It's a little bit over, who cares? But what you do is you squeeze the bulb, it pushes air out the top, and then it sucks air in through the bottom. See that? So you want to keep doing that. But now, like I said, sometimes these tests are inconclusive. You may not get anything. I've had that happen many times. As a matter of fact, I did try this car last night out of curiosity. It was late, but I wanted to try it, and I couldn't get any change out of it. Now, one thing too is you may want to rev the engine up, have somebody hold the RPMs up while you try doing this. And the reason being is higher engine RPM creates higher cylinder pressures. Higher cylinder pressures will basically help create the issue or recreate the issue for you. But there again, this is also not a foolproof test. I've done this many times over the years where I've never had a change. Last night I was the only one here when I did this, and I could not get that thing to change. But I'm going to have somebody rev it up, or I'm actually going to take like a pedal depressor and basically depress the throttle. These things have most new cars, well, pretty much any new car I know of, has a preset free rev limit, which could be 3,000 RPM. Basically, you can floor it and it won't go any higher. Some cars are even lower. When they feel no load, they won't let it rev up. So I'm going to let this thing get some temperature in it. Let me go get a pedal depressor, and then let's do that. And let's see if we can't get this to change. So there we go. I got a pedal depressor going. You can see we still got some steam coming out the tailpipe. So let me come over here. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to keep doing this. Could take a while. Alright, so I've been going on with this thing now for, I don't know, a good 4 or 5 minutes. And I don't see any change. So what does that mean? Well, it means we're not getting combustion in the cooling system. What else does that mean? Means it might not be a block or a head gasket or anything like that. Could be the turbo. Turbo's water cooled or coolant cooled, so it could be coming in that way, because that'll go right into the exhaust system or into the intake and then get burned through. But you'll never see hydrocarbons in the cooling system. So that kind of makes sense. So now what do? Do we look into that? Well, I want to see how far the customer actually wants to go with this. Maybe he was thinking it needed a tune-up and may need some extensive work. 166,000 miles, he may not want to fix it. He may want to bring it to the dealership because maybe he's got some kind of a service contract. We're going to leave it to them. We may not even want to work on this, to be honest with you, because I got so much work on my plate, it's not even funny. Yep. It's all stuff I got to work on. When I was out for 2 months there, it really put a damper on things. But yeah, this isn't doing anything. No change. But now I've run into this before where the test fluid was actually no good. How do you know? I'll show you how you know. It's pretty simple. Come to the back of the car. Now we're going to stick the test fluid right here, and we're going to suck up exhaust directly. And there it changes. See that? I still smell coolant in the exhaust though. So I'm pretty confident we have another issue. It's not combustion. So I think the engine itself is fine. I got a funny feeling it's a bad turbo. But I've driven this car a couple of weeks back, I think it was, or maybe a month. No, actually it was before I got hurt. I drove this car and the motor ran great. So, and right now that it's all cleared up, it sounds okay. But why was it misfiring? Well, if it's in the intake track of the turbo, it'll get sucked into the motor and create a misfire, because now you got some, coolant getting in there, minor amounts, but still enough to make it not fire correctly. So I'm pretty confident it's going to be a turbo. But anyway, we're going to leave it up to the customer and see what happens. Well, hopefully you learned how to do a block test and the benefits of, I had the pressure on there overnight and I did see a drop, and of course it pushed extra coolant into wherever it's going, I believe turbo, and blowing it out the exhaust, because it stunk for a long time. It still smells, but it's very mild now. So, all right, hopefully you got something out of that video. If you did, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. All right guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.